Hey guys, this is Shadowq, and this is going to be my patch notes review. I have not seen any of the changes yet, so bear with me while I read through them and go over them with you. I'm going to skip over the skins and stuff, which are really cool, but I really just want to get down there to the actual gameplay changes. Uh, so, map-related. The first thing that actually changed, okay, that's achievements. Map-related then. Conquest, the Fire Elementals now have a respawn timer in the world. I don't know what that means. I think they already did. I'm just going to skip that since that doesn't really matter too much anyway. Relics. Frenzy. We have two goals with this change: to improve Frenzy's early game use with flat damage, and to further empower it as a group-up objective push item. It says, it now applies an additional buff that increases all damage against objectives by plus 10 true damage per hit. Interesting. That's actually kind of weird. So, that's actually really interesting. Something that I'm not sure if is in the game or not. I really should know this, but I don't. In the last patch, they said that they were giving it plus 20% objective damage, and it's not in the game on the tooltip, so I don't know if that actually went through or not. But regardless, this change doesn't really change too much. I think you'll still get it the exact same amount that you did before, which is almost never. That being said, it's not a bad active. It's really underrated. This change does nothing, though. That's about it. It's a decent buff, but you'll get it in the exact same scenarios that you would before. Sunder. Reduce casting time from 0.5 to 0.2. Good. Honestly, the casting time should be literally 0 since it's kind of pointless to have a cast time. It's just really weird. But 0.2, whatever, sure. Good buff. I agree with it completely. Breastplate of Valor. The change to bring Breastplate's cost more in line with its performance and gameplay value. Cost increased by 200 gold. There's actually a pretty big nerf to supports, and honestly, the item has been overperforming, so I think it's a good. 200 gold might be a bit much, but honestly, if it only changed if it changed any less than that, you'd probably still buy it every single game, no matter what. So, good change. I can get on board with this, even though it'll nerf me a little bit. Yeah, it seems good. We have the next item that's changed, Bulwark of Hope, the best item in the game before. It says, Bulwark quickly became one of the best defensive items to purchase in almost all situations, which goes against our goals for Season 3. To curb this, we're reducing some of the passive bonus and also adding a reasonable time limit to the effect. Reduce passive from 150 plus 15 per health per level to 150 plus 10 health per level. Shield effect now fades after 20 seconds if not depleted from damage. Added icon and buff bar. So, it's 10 health per level, which instead of 15, which is decent. So the change at level 10 would be 50 less health. The change at level 20 would be 100 less health, which is a decent nerf. It's never going to be less than a 50 health nerf ever, because you don't finish the item before level 10 no matter what, I think. But this item, I don't know what they were thinking with it before. I honestly thought it was a bug before, that it didn't have a duration, but I guess it wasn't. I guess it was intended. I don't know what they were thinking when they did that. But the shield effect lasting 20 seconds, honestly, it should last like 5, but 20, sure, whatever, man. As long as it's not permanent. It really, really should. That's such a good change. Regardless of whether this item is good, the shield effect, they needed to do that so badly. Like, so badly. I think you'll still get this item in every scenario. So I don't think they really accomplished anything with that. I think it's still insanely good. But it's a huge step in the right direction. Nerfing it by even 50 health is huge. But still the best item in the game, hands down, even after a huge nerf. Gonna get it every game on solo lane. So, okay. Imperial Helmet. This change allows the Imperial Helmet tree to be a bit more viable as an early game choice, while we may have more adjustments to this tree in the future. This is a first step toward improvements. Reduce cost from 700 to 600. Rank 1 of an item doesn't really change its efficiency. Maybe it's OP at the stats, but honestly it's probably not going to change anything toward the overall tree viability whatsoever. So that's a completely irrelevant change in every way. Unless like rank 1 itself is OP on its own, which I don't think it is. Like, you just leave it at rank 1 and then that's it. It won't change how good the tree is in the first place. So, I have no idea why they did this change, but sure, man, whatever. Soul Eater, bug fix or something. Spear of Desolation, more effects, it doesn't matter. So that's all the item changes. That's actually pretty interesting. Items seem fairly balanced. Bulwark and Breastplate were actually the two ones that were really, really OP. So I agree with the nerfs to them. That's really smart by high-res. Miscellaneous updated popular items tab. That doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but not like it's not balance changes. That's not what I want to evaluate. New player experiences and stuff like that. Okay, here we go. Interesting god changes. The first one's Amaterasu. I did not see how they nerfed this god, but oh dear god, this is This god is insanely powerful. It's insane how good this god is right now. They're they're absolutely broken, man. They're fucking broken. Just no words for how broken they are. Hopefully they nerfed it a lot. There's a fairly significant reduction to heavy reflection in this patch. This change also affects the 2 times bonus on a full charge, creating a 80 damage reduction at the top rank. We've seen a lot of complaints about Amatera's movement capabilities. We want to adjust issues first. We've seen her flat damage relative to her defensive capabilities, and then get a better idea where she's at. Heavenly Reflection, reduced damage from, so it's 40 up to 80. Okay, I actually think this is a band-aid fix to her problems. I think Amaterasu is OP. Sure, the 2 damage was a ton, and this is a pretty solid nerf. It's a good start. But my god, this character is broken from a standpoint outside of their OP power. Their design is cheesy. It just is cheesy, brain-dead character design. Because basically, their movement speed has a 20 scaling to, I don't know, 35 or something movement speed on R1. That's insane. Or maybe it's 20 at max rank. I don't even care. It's just, why would you have that on a character? It's, where do I start? If you have that much movement speed on single ability for a passive, even just for yourself, the aura doesn't really matter too much. I kind of like the flavor of the aura. I agree with it, but it's just a bit too strong. The movement speed for herself lets her just be so fucking stupid and go in and left click and then get out with their damage. Like, I know that's kind of the point of warriors, but you can do it in the most brain dead way out of any warrior sport. You don't have to save your cooldowns. You don't have to save anything. You don't have to do anything. You just go in, and it's just so cheesy, man. It requires no thought, it has no counterplay, and she just has too much value because she has too much damage in addition to her move speed. It doesn't really make sense why you'd have that much move speed. I think it ruins the game to have a character that's that hard to actually kill. Just from, like, if they're so overextended, they get to half health, they're a warrior, so they're going to live no matter what. For a bit, they're not going to get insta-gibbed, and then all they have to do to get out is just walk away. They don't even have to have their 3 from ability. They just have so much mobility that it's absolutely insane. This character deserves way more nerfs than this, I think. Even if they're not OP, it's just insane that they're not getting nerfed in the movement speed. It's just flat out cheesy. I can't go on more like this. The other thing that's cheesy is the ult is 70-second cooldown. There's no reason for it. It's one of the best ults in the game. Don't make it 70 seconds. Make it 90. Like, why? There's no reason. Rant over. Next character. Artemis. Caledonian Boar now targets minions if no gods are available. Oh man, that's the change we were looking for to bring Artemis back into the meta. Yeah. She really needed this buff. OP top S++ now. Moving on. On her. Corrected an issue where on her it was only doing half physical power scaling to any enemy hit past the first. Interesting. Just a bug fix, I guess, then. That'll help him a little bit. That'll help his laning phase, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think it's going to change anything. Honor will be where he was before. Chiron. Statistically, Chiron has been one of the top gods in the game, and certainly top hunter since his launch. He's in a lot of he's good in a lot of situations, and this patch we are removing his ability to cripple, while also reducing his self-healing without affecting how much he heals others. Herbal Medicine no longer provides a 10% healing bonus to Chiron for each stack, and Training Exercise this ability no longer cripples. Sorry, I should show that. Sorry about that, guys. So Herbal Medicine is passive. Whenever he uses an ability, he gives a heal, and he no longer gets bonus for each stack. What does this mean exactly? So let me look at Chiron's kit real quick. Let me make sure I'm reading this right. Chiron's passive. Every 12 seconds he collects herbs, which increase all healing he receives from... So it's just like he basically gets less healing from his own things. That doesn't really matter. It's like a small nerf to his heal. It still means that he can heal himself, though, I'm pretty sure. It's just that he doesn't get the bonus from having more than one, I think. So that's what that change is. That's actually a pretty good nerf. I think that heal was just way too much. I like that nerf a lot. Training Exercise, this ability no longer cripples. Honestly, that was kind of cheesy when it happened, because it kind of required a lot of stuff to line up for it to happen. And when it did, you kind of didn't expect it. And because of its inconsistency, I actually didn't like it being on this kit. So I think that's a good change. I actually like these changes design-wise a lot. It's a very, 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 very smart way to nerf him. That being said, I think he's still one of the top hunters, and it's probably not quite enough. Just kind of has too much damage, and that's about it. The cripple did matter, but it didn't, you know? It's not a huge nerf. It's great design-wise, though. I thought it was so cheesy that it was in his kit. It's just really weird sometimes. So, I like it design-wise. It makes it less complicated for new players, and even for experienced players, for the cripple to not be on his thing. And a small nerf on his heal is good because he had way too much sustain in lane. So I think it's a really good change, too. That being said, I think he needs a slight damage reduction on the ult by like a little bit. I think he's a bit OP, but I actually love this change. It's a huge step in the right direction, and who knows, maybe it'll wind up being enough because the cripple's better than people expect, or maybe the healing in lane was all that was making him OP, so who knows. Going down. Isis Dispel Magic. Slow reduce from 35 to 20%. Sure. That is the most random nerf I think I've ever seen. What? Sure. Moving on. Odin. Fixed voice pack issue. Ravana. Since Ravana's rework, he has found his identity as a character who can get into fights and have a large impact. After monitoring his performance, we feel there are a few things he is overperforming in, mainly his sustained damage from Prana Onslaught and his ability to avoid damage with overhead kick too consistently. By reducing the frequency of use on these abilities, we expect him to fall into a better place. His 1 is now an 8-second cooldown, and his 2, his Chang'e 2 basically, is reduced, or 6-second increase cooldown, scaling to 2-second increase cooldown. That's huge, because, like, you kept it at rank 1, I think, and now it's just going to be 20 seconds instead of 14. This is actually a huge nerf. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see that. Oops. There you go. There's the change. Prana Onslaught increased cooldown to 8. Overhead kick reduced by 6, scaling to 2. Or cooldown increase, sorry. So, this is actually a really, really good change design-wise. That's kind of what was making him OP, and he'll still probably be really good. This might be enough to put him in a good spot. I think this is a very, 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 very smart way to preliminarily nerf him. I agree with this change completely. This is the right way to do it. He'll still be viable. He might still be OP, but this is a very, very smart way to nerf him. I agree with this completely. Moving on. Soul. For Soul, we are fixing an issue introduced last patch, and also removing one of the effects from their 3. Disapparate? Is that a word? From her 3. Soul, while still quite potent, has been performing much more in line recently, but the stun on her 3 seemed more excess than core to Soul's fast and slippery playstyle. So her 2 resolved an issue with this ability. Oh, that's just a bug fix on her 2. So it's basically working as intended now. Okay, that's good, that's good. No longer stuns when detonates. Supernova, improved warning. So the stun actually was weird. It was hard to guarantee, and it was really easy to dodge, because it did damage anyway, so you didn't really stand in it anyway. But I don't know what I think about this change. I think she's still gonna be at the top. I think this change will still make Soul C play. I think I like the removal of the stun, though, because when it got value, it was kind of too much. Because she's already really, really, really strong without that. So removing a stun from a kit is kind of huge, even though it's the least impactful part of like that you can nerf her. But I kind of agree with this change. This might make Soul C less play by a little bit, but she's still going to be insanely good. I approve of this change. It's probably not enough, but it's something at least. Thinking about it, maybe it means you can't just like mow her down as much. Because, I mean, her 3 still did damage to you, so it wasn't worth it for you to stand in it while you're chasing her anyway. It just means that you can actually eat it to kill her sometimes instead of automatically getting peeled. Maybe that'll make the difference. Maybe this change actually makes her not OP anymore, and maybe even underpowered. Probably not underpowered. But I like this change, actually, the more I think about it. This is a really, really, really good change. It was OP that she had that in her kit. I approve completely. I think this is the right thing to do. Ullr, I believe, is the last one. We have a bit of a give and take on Ullr this patch, allowing his stims to persist between stance changes, but increasing the cooldown on them. Overall, this is a change we think will improve the gameplay improve the enjoyment of playing Ullr at all skill levels, expanding options and addressing feedback over the confusion of exposed weakness. Invigorate, I guess is the whole name of this too. In addition, we've reduced the mana cost on Bladed Arrow and Thrown Axe, giving the Grizzly Hunter so much needed love. So for his 1, reduced mana cost, I actually like that a lot. He has a lot of spells using his kit. That's just a nice quality of life change. And unfortunately, the page won't scroll down anymore, so I'll just zoom out a little bit so that way I'll zoom in. I'll zoom in so I can scroll down. There we go, you can see it. Okay, zoom in a little bit more. Sorry about that. There, okay, we can see the whole thing. Oh god, it's not working. Okay, whatever, I'll just read it. Ullr's buffs from this ability are no longer removed if he changes stances. Adjust the cooldown from 18 scaling to 14 to 18 seconds at all ranks to account for the overlapping buff. This change is actually really huge. Ullr is probably going to be up there now. Being able to have actually a useful 2 is huge. Like, if you have the movement speed and you're chasing people down in your bow stance, that's the big deal right there. That's why it's huge, right? Instead of just using it for an escape exclusively, you can actually use it to go in. And Ullr might just be a top-tier hunter now, in all seriousness. This change is way bigger than you guys think, I think. The physical power in his X stance doesn't really matter at all, actually. It's kind of a quality of life thing that honestly should have been in the game the whole time. But I think this change is also good design-wise, because it was really confusing that you lost the buff. I didn't understand that at first either. So I agree with changing his 2 to do this, but it might be too much, man. Having move speed in an Axe stance like that is scary. It's one of the reasons why Artemis is really good. I know it's a steroid too, but imagine if he has power and that it's just like an Artemis 2, which is like her biggest strength. And then, but it's on Ullr, who has a stun and a jump and all that stuff. So I don't know. It might be too much, but maybe that's optimistic. I don't know. It's probably not too much. Well, that's all the changes for today, guys. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.